There's our magic words. Okay, so I will want to welcome everybody to the 11 a.m. Session here in our spring education assemblies, learning assemblies. And today's topic is we're going to talk about community service. And we got some community service all-stars that are on the call today. And so we're just going to get input from lots of different people, talk about some different ideas, talk about some ideas that might work in your club, because if you're here, that means you have some interest in it and you have interest in what your club might be able to do and contribute to what Rotary does in our district, on our islands, in our state, in our nation, of course, around the world. So I'm going to let our district governor, Randy, lead us off here, give us a few words on community service, his thoughts and his ideas. And then I'm going to be, I'm just excited about all these folks that are on today, because we're going to get some good exchange on community service. But right now, let's hear from Randy Hart. Go for it, Randy.
Well, thanks, Vincent. You know, I again, you know, I think my good friend Alan has a you know, an excellent story on community service. But and I think most that are on know that, you know, I'm very much about growing Rotary, and one of the ways that we grow Rotary is through community service. But the piece of that sometimes we miss is the PI piece. And you know, public information, you know, or public image, I'm sorry, you know, so the public knows what we're doing both locally and internationally. And many times we just don't do a good job telling that story. But when we do a good job in telling that story, and I use over and over again the Eco Club of Kaka'ako as a good example. They did several things with the Ginky Ball project there that paid huge dividends to that club. In the public image piece, you know, they did obviously very, very well whenever they were on the evening news, they were in the newspaper. But the other piece that they did that was very important is they made it a joint project. And they got other clubs in the Honolulu area, Oahu area, all to join in on that project. And whenever when we do joint projects and they become larger, they become much more impactful. And whenever they become impactful, then they become newsworthy. And that's where I think that, you know, I don't want to steal Alan's thunder, but the initiative that he took on, I think, will pay huge dividends on the PI piece and the impact piece that we will accomplish in doing community service projects. So with that, I will toss it back to Vincent.
Okay, Randy, appreciate that. That's great insight. So what Randy's did as soon as we started in on this, he said, hey, make sure we talk to Alan Kamemoto and talk about community service, bringing the military in on that. So Alan, let's go to you and hear a little bit about your experience in community service on the military.
Okay, I'm with Rotary Club of Hickam Pearl Harbor. We're really a small club, started with 20 and came back down to like 11 at one time. Anyway, I last year I got a contact through the Navy. One of our ex members called me and said, hey, I got this Navy group wants to do some volunteer work. It was training for the higher ranks in the Navy, and they said they want to do community service work. I said, great. We need 2 projects. I said, that's great. And he said, I got 60 guys can come out in each day. I said, well, that's great. So anyway, I had 2 projects I put together. Anyway, the bottom line is that I got 60 sailors come out, and we did some landscaping project with our grant with Kalihi L. And another day we came out and we did the Kahauiki project, which, you know, the district is very famous for. We did some landscaping, trimming and all that kind of stuff. And so after that, well, our club is so small, we've always done joint work with Sunrise. We did it with Sunrise, Metro, Ala Moana. So we always do joint work. And I kept thinking, you know, we got to get a better understanding of how the military works. So I got a hold of some of the Navy volunteer coordinators, and they said, hey, you know, we can get you volunteers. So I've been making inroads on that. I met with the Army Reserve Sergeant Majors Association. I got a hold of the Navy. So I'm getting a group of contact people that if we do need help, we can do that. The only thing is it's got to be really controlled, because, you know, if you ask the Navy, I mean, we can get half the Pacific Fleet here on the weekend. So I got to watch to see how many people we can get. The latest we had was a food bank packing project. I asked the Navy, I said, hey, you know, I need 50 people. I got only 28 and I got only 1 week left. The next day I had another 15 volunteers sign up. So I had to stop that right away. So you got to be very careful with what you do with the military, because they are enthusiastic. They do want to work. They want the exposure, and it helps us. If we can get Navy to work with us, I think membership, we can get more military members. When they become Rotarians on their next duty station, they have a good inroad through the Rotary network there. So it's a win-win for everybody. So I've been making good contact with the military. And so if any of you community service people need help, maybe we can just, maybe you can contact me and then I can send you out to the right agency. Like Windward side with the Marines, and of course Hickam Pearl Harbor area with the Navy. Of course, the Wahiawa has the Army. So I'm trying to develop relationships with the military so we can get good volunteers out there. So Randy, that's my good news that you wanted me to express, I hope. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts?
All right, that sounds good. So I'd like to hear from anybody now who's doing a joint project with you know, with another club or a group of clubs or a bunch of clubs, because this is a kind of a trend that we're seeing a lot in Rotary now, where especially like Alan's club, it's a small club. So, you know, if they do a project, you know, maybe they get 3 or 4 people show up. But if they do a joint project with a bunch of clubs, this is what we're seeing in East Hawaii. We have you know, Susie Osborne, who's president of Pahoa Club, who's got like 8 members, but she does a lot of her projects as Genki Ball project. You know, with Hilo Club, who has over 100 members. You know, with our club, you know, it's got 30 members. So now we got a huge group of folks that are showing up for these projects, where if she just ran it on her own with her club, you know, she might get a couple of people, but now she's getting a bunch of them. So any thoughts on joint projects? Chuck, I know you're a guy that has done those kind of projects out there in Kona. I see you're on, Mike's on, Nestorio's on, Vern's on. What are you guys doing over in Kona that's making an impact over there?
Probably our largest joint project is with our the Rotary Club of Kona, which is our sister club, and we've been doing what's called a meet and eat, where each club has a different day or month or day of the month that we basically prepare meals and hand out the meals. Mike Frazier, one of our club members, is probably the most prominent in that. But we get the meals prepared right now, and we box them, and then we hand them out. And that's been a large project for a lot of the clubs. I mean, I think there's other projects, and as we were just chatting earlier, my mind was racing, and I thought, and so I read an article in the newspaper, and I thought, you know, there's a project out there on the Big Island that Rotary as a whole ought to be getting together and say, why can't we work with the Army or kind of as Alan was saying, working with the Navy? But the thing that came up the other day was we got all these unexploded ordnances. Now, that's not to mean we're all able to go out there and dig in the ground, but at the same time, it's saying, wait a minute, there certainly is a way that we can say take an acre or two and go out there and make sure that we have cleared it in a sense. I mean, what a great thing for the Big Island, but our club can't take that project on by itself. But other clubs could work in that. I think that, exposure to Rotary, let's make our environment safe. Anyway, just a thought.
Vern, were you waving your arms up there, Vern, because you're like, yeah, let's do it? Or were you like, yeah.
Just a former Corps of Engineer officer. Corps of Engineers are the ones working that hard. That's a big deal. Chuck, it's an idea maybe we can pursue with the North Hawaii Club, because most of that problem is up in their area, Waimea. So, but a lot of issues there. And I saw the TV show on Hawaii News. They had a good rundown on it. This is going to last for years. This is nothing that's going to be easy for anybody. And I don't know how they bring in volunteers, but there's a lot of technical people that are involved with it. But I guess I got a little wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll pursue it.
Okay. We got to be creative. So Nancy, let's let her rip, man. What do you?
Well, since we're talking Big Island, my year a couple years ago as president, of course, I got totally slapped down by COVID, et cetera. But our club did so many great projects individually, but a joint project got a little bit harder to try and put together in 2020, 2021. One of the ideas I've had that I'd love to get all the Rotary clubs on the Big Island involved in, and I think the military, because I know they've come out for things before, to clean South Point Beach area again. It's been done a few times before, and I don't know what its status is now. I mean, I've been there, I've ridden my horse the whole beach to Green Sands Beach. And of those that don't know that, just the geographic of the world and the ocean current bring all the Pacific rubbish gets washed up on that beach. Unbelievable. And you would need the military for that, because you would need their huge, big flatbed trucks. And they helped me through a county project once a year, clean a huge acreage of land that I had become the manager of, that had the most number of abandoned cars anywhere in the state of Hawaii. What a title. So the Army came in from Pohakuloa and helped with the county and that to remove all of those cars and take them and get them off the land. And so I know that Army Pohakuloa can do that. So let's, Chuck, Vern, you guys, let's all see if we can't put something together for the coming, it'll take months to organize, but it's a great project. Thank you. That's community service at its best.
Well, I know the military had we're up in Volcano, and I know they helped Bill Hamilton, Randy, with a project up there to do some engineering for one of the schools there. They had to, I don't know, raise some roof or something like that. But he got a bunch of the National Guard guys to come in, bring all their big equipment to help participate with that. So yeah, the military, I mean, that is a super great idea, because especially the National Guard folks, they're always willing to participate in any way they can, because they're community service oriented as well. So Arjun, I wanted to go to you, see what your thoughts are about developing projects that are I mean, I know that you're working on a lot of international stuff, but what about stuff that's here locally? What opportunities do you see out here where Rotarians could participate?
Sure. Thank you, Benson. So one of the things I have two daughters, and I like to borrow our district governor Randy Hart's word. One of the email he mentioned, sometimes Rotary and family is toss up. So to avoid that, not to have toss up, how to develop project. And one of the things I like is last year and this year as well, I'm leading a community service project at the Alawai Elementary School right here. So last year, what we did is we bought lumber from Home Depot and then brought all the equipment, sanding, painting, and then built like 10 picnic benches, table for the school so they can have it outside. And the reason I like that project, it's not only school really needed, it's right next, close to my home and things like that. My daughter goes, but the more importantly, what I like is my daughters were very, very involved. So they really like that. When I told them, oh, I'm going somewhere to do Rotary project, sometimes, oh, you're all about Rotary, not about me. But that project, it's about us. They really engage, they like it, and they were very energetic. And then the school also highlighted that in their regular newsletter several times, and it goes to all the parents, and then that comes to our public image as well. So that's the kind of thing that involves whole family. That makes easier and gets a good reason for whole family to involve. I like that kind of community service event. So another example, Honolulu is doing on the Camp Ermine Honolulu Club, for example. It's since it has opportunity for kids to involve, that's why I'm going on their project too. So just an example.
Okay, yeah, that's a great one. I mean, anytime that we can partner with schools, that's always a great project, because I think one of the best things that we can do is, get in there and be the example for students that are there, like, wow, hey, this is ours, your kids go there. So it's really great to see that. Nancy, you had a thought.
Yeah, I think too, family and Rotary, we have to really merge those together, I think, in a better way than I've seen in the past. So I'm trying to encourage our club, like we have our Rotary Park that we built and created years ago, and we're going to be doing a cleanup project there. I'm really trying to, because we have so many of our members are younger now and they've got kids. Mine are, I got grandkids I might be able to bring, but if they lived in the state. But the point is, if we had, while we're doing the beach cleanup or the whatever project we're doing, if there's a physical ability to bring your own, or have our members bring their children and their spouses to an event. So then you have maybe a few of the members kind of supervise the other, kids, like right there at our little pond cleanup type thing there by Pond's Restaurant. Anyway, you have, it's a safe enough place so you could have a couple of parents say, okay, I'll watch all 6 or 8 kids or whatever it might be. And somebody bring extra floaties, somebody bring extra coloring books, bring different things of level. And then instead of just your regular, whatever your poo-poos are, throw a few hot dogs out there on the grill or something, and then you can have your, and to talk to the members who have the kids. I don't know, maybe little kids don't eat hot dogs anymore. Mine are too old. So they eat them at old kids, but anyway, have events so you can encourage your members, because I think when you're in your 30s and you've got kids and a spouse, the biggest conflict to giving your all to Rotary is the fact that you got to leave your family for a day or for a weekend or for an event to be in Rotary, when that we could really, I think, do better at combining those with very little cost or very little effort. So I really encourage everybody to look at how to combine community service and family together. Okay.
Boy,
Arjun
that's-
gave me that idea.
Yeah, that's a great thought and a really great idea, because you're right. There's been Rotary clubs now that are being organized. I don't know if there are any in our state, but they're really, family clubs. They meet on Saturdays in the park, and the kids can, play on the swings and stuff, while the parents are transactioning or doing Rotary business. So that's super helpful. Hey, Mr. Del Green, I wanted you to just take a second because I know there's some people on the call that we're on this morning, and we're talking about district designated funds, the old DDF. And I wanted you to just take a minute and sort of explain because people are looking for ways to finance their projects, how they can do that. With those funds, where those funds come in, that they have to be deposited in a different account, all of that, so that people understand how they can use district designated funds to do community service.
Sure. So what happens is that the district will get an allocation number from Rotary International. We usually get that pretty early in the year. We are kind of behind the 8 ball actually at the present time. What we like to do is to have what's called a preliminary grant spending plan meeting with the governor line and the key chairs of the DRC, the District Rotary Foundation Committee. And so we actually have a meeting that's currently scheduled. And as part of that meeting, we look at the DDF that has been, that's available to us. And as we discussed earlier, that number consists of the monies that come back 3 years after they were contributed to the annual fund. Also the current spendable earnings from endowment monies from Generous Rotarians from District 5000. We can allocate up to 50% the DDF for district grants. Traditionally, the district has done that, but it's not a requirement. But we can exceed 50% for district grants. And so, assuming that occurs, then the clubs in the district would get a pro rata share of whatever is available based upon what their giving has been. But there are 2 different ways we traditionally do it. Because we like to give it back to the clubs. One way that we've done it in the past is that we give them the actual number based on the dollars that were given 3 years ago. The other way that has been used more recently, it's an average over the last 3 years. I think the policy reason was to kind of round out situations where maybe you had a club president who wasn't real aggressive about foundation giving, and you didn't want to penalize some other president-elect who is working his or her fanny off to raise monies. Once you get those monies, and actually right now, all the clubs should be thinking about what they would like to do in terms of district grant projects, because we're hoping to be able to have a number for them within a matter of a couple of weeks, actually. I mean, it's that soon that we'll have that information. But these are monies that would be available for them to do, to spend on local projects. But as Murray Visser is fond of reminding us, or me at least, district grant monies are not necessarily limited to being spent on local district projects, but can also be used for international projects as well. I don't know if I answered your question, but I tried to.
Okay, Virginia, you had a question? I see your hand up.
Well, I have a comment related to what Dale just said, and also the discussion on projects, cooperating on projects. I'd like to suggest that the local clubs get together to discuss joint projects in the interest of being able to both have the number of people needed for bigger projects and the bigger money for projects. And I'm thinking, Benson, about your water project, the Ocean View Water Project. And I think that I know what you've been working on most recently, but in discussions with some of our club members, we're more interested in the long range fix and being able to develop a plan for that based on what it's going to take to really fix that situation without going into it. But I think if our clubs who are interested, even across the island, can get together to talk about some of these bigger things. You know, in the club, we do a lot of small, what I call small community projects, and they're important, but they're small, and some of them have to be done every year. But we can also do bigger projects where there is a significant fix and a change in the quality of life for a community. And I see that in that water project. Everyone should have water.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so I would suggest a meeting on that to talk about. There are a lot of other projects I'm interested in, but I won't take up any more time making comments.
Okay, well, though, but that's great, great comment, Virginia, and part of the whole, you know, getting projects on the table is that, you know, somebody's got to come up with the idea, right? Like, hey, this might be a good project, or this might be a good way to approach a project. And so, you know, those kinds of things can't come together unless somebody puts that on the table and says, hey, let's look at that. Let's meet about that. So I wanted to shift a little bit and talk a little bit about community service and its effect on membership, or how we can merge the two together, get community service done, and also help improve the membership of our clubs. And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, to see how we might be able to meld those two together. And Nancy has a thought on that.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
thank you. I was actually going to give this input anyway. I've been co-membership chair of our club, and I will say I think our Hilo Rotary Club has been on fire with new members, and the reason it's happening, it's not that anything I'm doing special. It's the fact that a new exciting member begets a new exciting member begets a new exciting member. And so what we're finding is, as an example, one of our Rotarian members met a lady, she and her husband and a friend were just personally, the three of them, trying to clean the monster huge pond right adjacent to across from the ocean at Carl Smith Park. And it was a waterway. I mean, that's what it is. But because of the way the road was built and it's been cut off, it is now being so impacted with the tall California grass that soon you would never see the water. I mean, it's squishy under there. So instead, she and her husband, because then the birds don't come anymore that used to come, the fish, everything about that whole ecosystem has been altered because of this roadway 50 years ago or so being built, and whatever, maybe more, because I've been almost here 50 and it's been there forever. So they were personally, three of them. So our Rotarian said, oh, you know what? And heard about it and said, hey, that's a great idea. Can I bring some of my friends from Rotary? And I'll bring some friends and we'll help you. And of course, the lady said, sure, we always invite people. Well, I think 10 of our club members showed up the next Saturday when they're there working. So of course, this lady's like, oh my God, you know? So she joined the club, and now it is one of our monthly projects, you know? And so now 15 or so of our club members show up every time or something. There's not a lot of space to work at. And they need more equipment. We need to find the people with the boats and the, you know, equipment to really make this happen. They're literally hand pulling out California grass. But again, it would be a great project, like Virginia said, that all the clubs might be able to help in, because it's clearly our East Hawaii community being, you know, affected. But the idea on the membership was that one person's idea, who at that point wasn't even a member, and now other friends of hers that have been involved and other people that we've met have gotten excited about this project. And again, it could become a very ongoing project. And then when I do orientation to all of our new members coming in, I tell them, this is not just my club, becomes your club. you bring us your desires. You bring to us your favorite project. Maybe your church has got something going on that is great. Maybe your kids are involved in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, something, and or your soccer team or your kids' soccer team or something. They need help with something. Come to Rotary instead of the two, in that case, the 2 or 3 of them working on it. You know, you could have 15 or 20 or more people show up and help with something. So I think that's part of it too, because we have a lot of new people and a lot of new energy, and a lot of them are bringing great ideas that we're jumping in on. So I think we just have to, I think Rotary, when I came in as the first woman in East Hawaii, but I think I heard there was somebody in Kona Club before that. Certainly not the first in the state. Lots of other women were members before I came on board. But I think that what we have to do back in those days, 35, 6, 7 years ago, it was very exclusive club. We, you know, like, whoa, to be invited was like so honorable. And I am honored. I am honored that I was invited, and I'm honored every time I can invite someone to join. But it's not, it doesn't have to be that exclusive club. It just has to be honorable. So we need to open our wings instead of close our fronts, and let more people know in the community what we can do for the community, and in big ways, of course, and as well as small ways. And every one of those people we touch is a potential member. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Del Green, you're on.
Yeah, I guess I probably should share something about this particular topic, because my club is kind of uniquely situated. We used to meet at the Pacific Club, but like a lot of clubs here on Oahu, you know, the private clubs have sort of changed their attitude toward, I think, Rotary clubs, and have made it very expensive, and so it's kind of a more costly proposition for us. And so I think our experience probably is something that maybe communities like Hilo and other communities in the state that have more than one club in a particular town might find interesting. We no longer meet weekly at the Pacific Club. We're currently meeting across the street at Ke'elikulani Middle School. The middle school had become over the years a target of our community service projects because it was across the street, kitty corner actually, from the Pacific Club. It's the only urban school in the state of Hawaii. It also happens to be on the palace grounds of Princess Ruth, Ke'elikulani Middle School. So we now we were meeting in their auditorium. We meet in what they call the Bulldog store. I don't know, I think it looks like a home ec room or something like that. We don't pay any money. We don't have breakfast anymore, which I kind of miss, but you know, it doesn't cost us anything. The principal of the school is a member of our club. Prior to that, one of the teachers in the school was a member of our club. And so we have that symbiotic relationship with the school that we have been supporting with our projects. Like, for example, we do a 4-way test essay contest. We also do a Teacher of the Year award, where we have the students nominate a teacher that they think should receive this award. And then we use our district designated funds or global grant monies for these purposes as well. So we kind of come full circle. The other thing is that we have other clubs in our community, and they've also expressed an interest in helping us with the school. They don't want to step on our toes, but they are interested. And these are a little bit larger clubs. And in fact, I think Mark Merriam's club might be one of those clubs that's been talking to our club president about, you know, kind of jointly working together to help improve this school. So, you know, for communities that have these, you know, like Hilo and like Honolulu, where we have more than one club, you know, maybe this is an opportunity for those kinds of communities where they can work together, say, for example, to support a school or what have you, together. So I just wanted to kind of share that particular story because I think it intersected with some of the things you were tossing out there. Thank you,
Yeah,
Benson.
that's great. Yeah, that's great. I mean, like Virginia said earlier, I mean, the more that we can combine forces, we make a greater greater impact out there. So, yeah, we do have DGE Mark on the call today. Mark, you want to chat a little bit about community service as it relates to membership, working together, impact out there?
Sure, thanks, Vincent. We do know that people join Rotary because they want to give service to the community. That's understood. That's why I joined. That's probably why most of you joined too. And I like Virginia's comment about needing to have a critical mass so that we can do more significant projects with more people and more money. And that takes a coordinated effort among probably more than one club, as our club sizes are a little bit smaller now. It only makes sense to bring clubs together to get that synergy and to get that critical mass to make a positive difference. This coming year, we're going to have an emphasis and initiative to help our Micronesian communities across the state. That's already started with Benson and the Kona clubs down in Ocean View. It's already started with Dell's Club at Ke'ili Kalani School. It's happening at Kaimaki High School with the Honolulu Club. But we're really going to have an emphasis in the coming year to make a difference in our Micronesian communities. I think that'll be district-wide, statewide synergy to talk about the needs of the immigrant populations and identify ways for our clubs to get into those communities, whether it's education, medical, vocational training, employment training. There's so many different things that we can do to support the immigrant populations from the Micronesian Islands. So that will be a coordinated effort among all of our clubs in the coming year. Thanks.
Okay, great. Yeah, great idea. We're kind of moving in that direction over here, but it's great to have a coordinated effort in anything as far as community service goes, because I think really as Rotary goes, I mean, community service is like our greatest calling card out there. When people go by and they see 45, 30 people that all got these Rotarian at Work shirts on, and they're whatever they're doing, painting, pulling weeds, building picnic tables, I mean whatever it might be, that makes an impact out there. And one of the strategic priorities that Rotary has been trying to they've been trying to push for the last 4 or 5 years now. It's just increasing our impact out there, and whenever we do stuff, as a group, and the bigger the group, the better, or the more or the larger impact that's made out there in the community, the better it is for us. So I wanted to talk a little bit more now about community service and this impact that it can have on membership. And I want to sort of continue to sort of stay in that vein, because like Nancy said, I mean, and their club, they've got a lot of energy now with new people who all want to do something. So if we want to utilize our community service, or the community service that we're putting out there to help increase at least our exposure to new people who could be potential members, what are some of the ways in which we can put that out? We can publicize that. We can promote that. Where do we connect with people to get them involved in some of the stuff that we do out there? So I see Bev just joined our call, and whenever Bev joins the call, she's on my target list. So Bev, what's your thought about that? I know that you're part of this club that's just exploding at the seams. So where are you finding people? I mean, are you just inviting people in, or does the community service thing really appeal to them and it's easy to engage them? What's your thought about that?
Thank you, Benson. I was on the call. I just didn't have my camera on because
Oh, yeah.
I was eating, and so
Yeah.
that wouldn't be nice. So anyway, thank you, Benson. I'm just going to reflect first on why I joined Rotary, and Mark touched on that. 6 years ago, I joined Rotary because of community service, because I wanted to give on a larger scale. I was already involved in the community. I've already had leadership positions. All of that was just great. I didn't come to Rotary for that. I saw Rotary as a larger vehicle for me to do more service in our community and around the world. And I remember on my first service project was to go and we painted one of the homeless shelters here. And it was just amazing that so many Rotarians were there picking up brushes and doing all of this work. And I felt like I was a part of something much bigger than myself that was going on that day. And I knew that what we were doing was going to make an impact in the community. And that made me feel really good, being a Rotarian, that I'm here doing something that's going to have long impact even after I'm gone. And so I think that is what the message that we can get out to people. People want to give back. People want to do service. And I know just coming out of COVID for 3 years of being shut up in our houses, afraid to come out and do things. As you can see, not just our club is exploding, but other clubs that I'm a part of are exploding too, because people are now saying, I want to get out. I want to do something. I want to give back. And I think that's the message that we want to get out. And how we get people to come, I always said the best way to get anyone to come is a personal invitation. You can send me all the emails and all the things you want. Unless you call me up and talk to me personally, I may not respond to all the rest of the things, but because you call me up and say, come on out and be a part of this, then I would take that more seriously and I would say yes to that. And I think it's a personal invite. And I know when we have service projects, I like to invite a friend to come and be a part of it. And I think that's a good way to do it. And I think that's what we're doing in our club right now. Everybody is inviting someone to come and be a part of. And at this time, it's a very exciting time. We want to be a part of things. We want to, after being shut up like we were, and saw what the world can come to, we want to make sure that we can maybe play a little part in that not happening again. And I think the energy is out there where we want to just make things happen, move our life forward, move our world forward. And I think we can gather more people with the message of come and join us and help us do this service in our community, but also in the world. So thank you, Benson.
Well said. See, that's why I always call on Bev, because she's got the Gettysburg Address like ready to throw out there. So that's great. Thank you, Bev. Alan, I wanted to go back to you now, because as a small club, but an active club, do you see community service really as something, or as a way you guys can help to build your membership?
Okay, yeah, to me, community service is a big draw. Our club is so small, we just don't have speakers. We can't invite the managing director of the city to come over and talk to 11 people. But our big draw, I think, is just doing joint community service work, getting people involved, people show up, and that's how we've got most of our members recently. They come to a community service project, they enjoy the camaraderie. Usually we have food afterwards and we talk story. And once they know, and we talk to them, we talk about Rotary. They can't get away, they volunteer, they can't get away. So we bend their ear for about 2 hours. But they just know that we are good people. I mean, that's our persona. And they want to do that. And to add to that, the military, we've been pushing with the military because, again, we are Hickam Pearl Harbor. We have a lot of service people in our organization and they're retirees, but they know about the military. And the big draw with Rotary and military is that when a military person joins the Rotary and he has a change in duty station. Wherever he goes, there's going to be a Rotary Club close by, and they can join the Rotary, get connections with the community that way. So that's what we're really trying to push. In fact, the last one that I got was at ROTC instructor, and he came from Cincinnati, and so he's got here and he's been here for a couple months, and he really wants to do Rotary stuff because he met Rotarians over there in Cincinnati, and then but never got a chance to join because of COVID. He comes here, we're wide open, got him, and a lot of his troops over at the ROTC department, they came down and helped us with our community service project. So number one, we get the labor and support, and number two, he can join our organization and get to know Rotary more, and the next duty station, he'll fit right in with the community. So I think that's a big draw with the military. So that's how we've been recruiting people. We started with 11. I think we're up to 17 already this year. So
Wow,
we
that's
really,
great.
we had a good year. We had a good year.
All right, good, man. Wow, that's almost like a 50% increase, but,
Yeah.
hey, so, so Virginia, you posted this, long message in the chat, and if, you guys haven't had a chance to read it, you should take a look at it, but I wanted you to chat a little bit, talk a little bit about that, because you had some really great ideas. What's your thought about that?
Well, first, I just wanted to say to Alan and to others, as I've got to remember the new title here, Benson, Learning Facilitator. As a learning facilitator, I think one of the things that we're doing in Hilo Bay is we're scheduling a joint meeting with Volcano, actually not on a particular topic, but actually just to have fellowship with that club. But I think certainly small clubs can band together around important topics for speakers who may be here for like a one-shot thing on island, and you can increase the numbers so people are more interested in speaking to you. But with that said, I just posted some ideas here on joint projects. On the east side, we've been talking about girl empowerment and the whole issue of the problem with leadership for young girls, and one of the projects that is being discussed is a prom dress project for kids who maybe are in foster care, in emergency care, so that they can just go to the prom like everyone else. I think the other thing that and we've already kind of talked about the water project, but the other thing I put on there, and this is my new thing, I am so angry about school shootings. I can't tell you, I was an educator for over 45 years and in schools. And one of the last things I did was rebuild a campus with bond money. And it was coming at a time when we had all of these concerns in Southern Arizona about active shooters. And so we did a lot of things in that school to make sure it was safe. And then I come here and volunteer in schools with the dictionary project. And I can't tell you how unsafe it felt to walk into a Hawaiian elementary school after my experience in Arizona, the things that we put in place. And I've only had a brief conversation with an assistant principal, but the message I got was that there's not money to do anything. Oh, well, we do what we can. Well, my view when I was working in a school was, if any child ever comes to harm under my call, I cannot live with that. I could not live with that. And I still feel that way. Part of it is a safety, personal safety concern, but much larger, all of our precious children, our wonderful teachers, our parents are opening themselves up every day to the dangers that exists because the school is wide open. Every door is open, every gate is open. The school offices are in the middle of the school. They're not the first thing people encounter when they go into a school. There are a lot of issues there, and I would just like to have a conversation about it with the educators, because I just don't believe that school principals and teachers are not concerned. And I think parents, after watching this latest shooting in Nashville, are tremendously concerned about their kids going back to school. I even saw coverage on people who had been through more than one school shooting.
Yeah.
It's epidemic, and I just don't think we can wait for someone to create legislation, or I don't want to get into arguments with people about guns, but I do know how to keep kids safe, or safer, and some of the things are easy, like changing all the door locks so that they lock automatically when you close them. And because I can tell you, teachers do not have time to find their keys and lock a door before a shooter walks in their room. They just don't. Anyway, I
Okay.
won't, I could talk about this for ages, but I just think Rotary might have a role here. We spend a lot of time in schools, and there are things that we could do to help. And I do know that when you talk about emergencies, and I'm a member of the CERT group in the state for planning for emergencies, and most people think about during the emergency and after the emergency, but most of the thinking should happen before the emergency, if you know what I'm saying. You want to know, with regard to schools, that you can plan to have at least 5 minutes to get kids to safety before a shooter walks in a classroom. And there are ways to do that, and partnering with police and community members, and doing some things that cost money, but getting them done.
Yeah,
So that's my bandwagon.
that's a great idea. And thanks for getting on the bandwagon. I think that's something in Hawaii that we all think about. I have, my tons of my grandchildren all in schools, and every time I come across one of those stories, it really makes me shiver. But let me share this one thing as we're sort of winding up the session for today. 3 hours of this for most of us today. It's been really great. So I wanted to just talk really briefly about this project that we're doing down in Ocean View with the Marshallese, just trying to get them some basic water up there. Now, one of the things I want to share with you is I went down there, and I was there and doing a vaccination project with them, and got to know a bunch of the people down there, and they were telling me about their water situation. And so I said, wow, this sounds like something the government should be helping you guys with, right? So this is what they told me. They said every mayor, the last 3 mayors have been down here. The county council has been down here. We've had our Congress people down here. Both senators have been here. Everybody says, wow, this is a horrific situation, and you guys really need to have some help, right? But the kind of help that the government can provide, it's long range. It's like years in development to do it. They got to pass a bill or float a bond, or they got to do something in their processes, right? Because I went to our Rotarian mayor over here and discussed it with him, and he said, you know what, Ben, we can resolve this thing, but it's going to take some time, right? We got to get research and development on it. We got to get a water grant, infrastructure, whatever, right? He said, this is a perfect project for Rotary because Rotary has the ability to respond fast. Rotary has resources that they can put into it without taking a vote of the community on whether or not this is good. Rotary can do stuff that the government just does not have the ability to do. And you know, when he told me that, it just really sank in that that Rotarians have a tremendous opportunity to make an impact really anywhere they want, because we have the ability to respond quickly with manpower or people power, and we have resources, right? And we can mobilize really quickly, and that's not something the government can do. They just are unable to do that. So I see Randy. Randy, you're on the call. You want to wind it up here? We just got the last couple of minutes. But wow, what a great discussion today. What a great, some really kind of great ideas. You know, partnerships, really a prevailing theme, and how we can work together to increase our impact out there, and just do the kind of work that Rotarians like, you know, like Bev was saying. I mean, she joined Rotary because, man, she wanted to get involved in the community, wanted to contribute something, wanted to be a part of something that was out there making impact in our community. And that's the message we need to get out there. And the more we get this, you know, whole flock of people out there in those Rotarian at work shirts, the more impact we're going to make out there. So, okay, Randy, you guys want to take us home and wind this up for the day?
Be my pleasure, Benson. Well, we won't wind up for the day because I think you and me and Laura and a couple others are going down to Hobie. Oh, I know some
yeah.
other states to
we're
talk
on the way.
about Rotary down there. So our Rotary Day, you know, for everybody else, won't be over until sometime this evening.
Right.
But you know, I can't appreciate folks anymore. You know, you know, folks like Benson and Laura and Nestorio and everybody, you know, that's going to extend their day well into this evening. You guys just all give so much. You give up your Saturday to be here for 3 hours. I know we all have many things that we could be doing on Saturday. I don't know that we have a whole lot more important, unless it's family, to do than Rotary. Of course, I'm a bit biased in my thoughts as the district governor, but you know, I can't thank you all enough. You know, I think the value from what we do today of sharing those best practices. You know, I just think that, you know, we learn so much from each other in better, smarter ways to do business, more fun, relaxed ways to do business, because, you know, we're not in a serious business. We got to enjoy doing what we're doing and finding the path of least resistance, whether it's water in Hobie or bringing the military into their huge lift that they can provide to Rotary. You know, it's just a huge win for everybody. I just, you know, and I popped around into the different sessions and stuff, and it everybody seems to have the same feeling about you know, the district training and sharing ideas and trying to make Rotary in Hawaii even more robust than what it already is. So you know, it's 12 o'clock, the witching hour. See some of you folks later on, but have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll be seeing you all again soon. Don't forget about the district conference now. You know, 1921 May. If you haven't signed up yet, got to get signed up. Room rates will change on the 15th of April to back to rack rates and plus resort fees. So it becomes much more expensive after the 15th of April whenever they change those room rates. So so please do get signed up. We got 200 plus coming to the district conference now. it'd be great to max out at 250. Great dilemma is to have more than 250. But our goal is 250, and we'll shoot for that. And got a whole bunch of folks working very, very hard on that district conference. So can't appreciate, everybody more than what I already do in everything that you've given to me and the district to make it a better place. So thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all again soon. Thanks.